Welcome back to Her Health Code. I'm Jess.
And I'm Michelle. Thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy that you're here.
We're building a community to support, empower, and inspire women to feel their best in midlife.
Yes, we
Yes,
are.
we are.
And if you're enjoying our episodes, please take a moment to subscribe or follow. We'd greatly appreciate it. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, please take a couple minutes, just a couple minutes, and leave us a review. It'll really, really, really help us out.
It really will.
Yes, it will.
And especially if you feel like any of our episodes are helping you, there's definitely a friend that could also benefit from this. So please don't forget to share it with them. This is going to help us grow and hopefully help so many more women, because this is a time where I feel like people are just kind of lost. And
I
today's
agree.
episode is all about something that happened to Michelle when she started HRT, and she definitely felt lost. And I can't even believe that this happened. I had to pick my jaw up off the floor when she was telling me this story, because she had to figure it all out on her own in the end. So Michelle, tell us about what happened a couple of months, I guess, after you started taking HRT, which is almost a year ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I started estradiol patch and oral progesterone about a year ago. And 2 months into it, I started having some stomach problems, and I thought it was just digestive upset. So I started altering my diet, making sure I was getting enough fiber, and my stomach problems just kept getting worse and worse. And I just couldn't figure out what was happening. So I messaged my doctor and I was like, I'm not sure what's happening. And at the moment, because this was the only medication I was on, I was like, it has to be this. And so I asked her, is there anything I should be aware of? Is there any side effects or something that might be happening, because I'm not on any other medication? And she's like, no, 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 you're fine. And so I just continued, but my stomach problems kept getting worse and worse. And so they got so bad that I actually felt like I was having like a mass in my stomach. And so I decided, because she wasn't helping me, with any kind of information on what I could do to make it better, I decided to go to urgent care. And so at urgent care, they run all these tests and ultrasound and everything. And they come in and they're like, you're fine. You're
You're like,
absolutely fine.
no, I'm not.
And they actually had the audacity. They're like, well, maybe you just need to go to the bathroom. And I was like, what? Like, I know what it feels like. And this is not it. Like, my
So I
stomach
have
just,
to ask, was one of the symptoms that you were having trouble eliminating? Or was it just the feeling?
it was just the feeling. It felt like I had like a rock in my stomach. It just felt like something was wrong. Something was off. And so they ran all these tests. Nothing came out like anything was wrong. And so I left that place feeling like, what is wrong? I was just more confused. I'm not imagining that this is feeling this way. And so I went home and did a deep dive on, more side effects that can happen with doing HRT.
Tell us about the timeline. Like, how long before you started feeling this happening to then you spoke with a doctor? Was it your OB, or was it the prescribing doctor?
So I waited about a
HRT?
week it was about a week before I even messaged my doctor, because I was
Because
trying.
you thought it would pass.
I thought it was just digestion. I thought I needed to alter my diet, which I did, with more greens, more vegetables, more fruits, all of those things, all of the things that you're supposed to do when you're having some digestive upset, increase my probiotics, and, I was just really
All the
watching
things.
everything. Nothing was helping. And so after the doctor not helping, and after going to urgent care and nothing helping there, and I was still having problems, I was really confused. And so, of course, what do? We go to Google and started doing a deep dive on what potential things could happen with stomach issues when you're on estrogen and progesterone, on HRT. And
So what led you to believe that it was that and not something else that was causing it? Was it because you were so new on it? Because it had been a couple months.
It was
So
because
what
I wasn't on anything else.
Yeah.
So I immediately knew it either had to be what I was eating or the prescription, because those were the only two influences. I didn't have any additional stress in my life. I didn't have anything else new that was happening. And on vacation, there was no other new influences that could potentially be happening. And then, like I said, started researching what are some things that can happen when you're on HRT. And one of the things I came up with, which I really didn't know, and I don't know if a lot of you know out there, but progesterone itself, it slows the emptying out of your stomach. And so I was like, that's interesting. So progesterone is slowing the emptying of my stomach. That means it's slowing down my digestion. But having estradiol with it is supposed to balance everything out so things don't get stuck, basically.
Right.
And so you have the two, they balance each other out. Just like before you had HRT, your hormones balance each other out so you don't have any problems. Well, I was like that, well, that doesn't make sense because I'm on an estradiol patch. That should be balancing me out. And then I started thinking about what if maybe I wasn't putting on the patch correctly, if maybe there was, some influences there. And then I came across a woman that was talking about living in California, which I live in California, and swimming with the patch and having all kinds of mood disorders and being confused at why she was having all these side effects still from menopause because she was on the patch. And then she realized it was because she was swimming. And you cannot, so here's the PSA, you cannot have a patch on and not cover it with a waterproof bandage if you are on HRT. You have to have a waterproof bandage on your patch in order to be submerged in water. I didn't know that. I was going in the pool, I was going in the hot tub.
And why is that?
So
Let us know
because
why.
the estradiol on the patch disperses when it's submerged in water. And after I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, that makes total sense.
Mhm.
But because nobody ever told me, like, hey, if you're going to take a bath or if you're going to go swimming and you have this patch on, make sure it is covered with a waterproof bandage. So
Yeah.
it took me
Would've
weeks
been
to figure
nice
this
to know.
out. So I am so glad that I know that. And I never leave home without my waterproof bandages now that cover my patch. And I've never had a problem since. So, ladies, if you're on HRT or if you're getting on HRT, buy some waterproof bandages for that patch and you will not run into the same problem that I had.
I cannot believe you went through your prescribing doctor
Yes.
and somebody in an ER.
Yeah. And
Oh,
so frustrating
yeah.
that we as women going on HRT right now have to be your own health detective. And that goes even beyond HRT. If you
In general.
are, yeah,
Yes.
you just need to learn how to decode what is happening in your body, what is happening in your mind, what's happening in your digestion. Because if you don't, you are missing out on a lot of tools that you can then share with your doctor because they only have certain knowledge, but they don't have the knowledge of what is going on in your body. And so those missing pieces, I had to utilize to figure out for myself on how to fix my own problem. It is
Mhm.
sad, really, that a lot of medical professionals aren't connecting the dots for women, especially when you're only on one prescription, because we've always trusted them to be there for us to help
Right.
connect the dots.
This
But
is
I have
why.
found during my HRT year, I've had to connect a lot of dots for myself.
Mhm.
And that's kind of why what really led us to starting to do something like this
Yeah.
is because we don't want other women to struggle or suffer without the information and be there on their own. And so we're trying to provide help and maybe just assistance and stories
Yeah.
to maybe make your process going through this a little bit easier.
Yeah, these antidotes that we can share with you through our own trials and tribulations. We're not your doctor, obviously. So please do continue to have that professional relationship with your doctor.
Yes.
But raising awareness and having it now top of mind, Michelle had to think about something she was doing differently. Which was kind of an outside root cause to this problem. It wasn't
Yeah.
something internal. It was something that she was just a new part of her daily routine was
Yeah.
that she was hopping in the pool or the hot tub
Yeah.
to enjoy summer.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah. So thank you, Michelle, for sharing that with us because I know that so many people are going to have
Yeah.
aha moments
Mhm.
or be able to avoid this happening completely like me.
Well, hopefully this information has helped someone out there. And until next time, be well.